So as we get started, first things first. My son had said he was watching this movie, something about the Karate Kid, and the sensei or the teacher at the time said, "There's no such thing as a bad student, just bad teacher." And I kind of giggled about that because I was like, that's the Hollywood perspective. That's not really the Bible perspective, because we know that there could be bad teachers behind the pulpit, in the pulpit, wherever, at home. We know that there could be bad teachers anywhere, but we also know that there could be bad students as well, bad learners, because that sin nature is always conflicting with our will and what we want to do and stuff. So we're always battling the sin nature. So the Hollywood version might paint it out that way. But God really paints it out through the red letter ink, and He really paints it out through a truthful perspective that I think we should really consider. And I just want to say, welcome to the show. I'm really glad to have you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for inviting me.
We're gonna jump to this first question, and it's this. It says, "How important would you think honor and respect is to God?" And if you have a scripture that comes to mind, go ahead and share that. Feel free.
Yes, and in fact, I do have a scripture, and it's Ephesians 6:1-3. And in the 10 Commandments, God stated that honor your mother and your father. So it begins at home. And you're talking about teachers and trainers and students. Home is the very first place that a child should be taught. Honor thy father and thy mother. Hey, when I was a kid, that was one of the first things my mom said. If you don't respect me, if you don't honor me, you don't respect your dad, you're headed in the wrong direction, and you're going to cut your life short. But Ephesians 6:1-3, it says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you, and that you may enjoy long life on the earth." So in other words, if I can respect my parents, my mom and dad, I can respect you, my peers, teachers, my pastor, the police, anybody else. But if you don't have that respect at home, if you're not getting it at home, and nowadays I know it's tough because children nowadays are coming from single parent homes, and they may not get it like you or I did when we were younger. I mean, that background, that foundation that was built on the Bible, Jesus Christ's teachings, and how children were supposed to be taught, that was the basics of our life. And when we left home, we better not have gotten in trouble with our teachers or anybody in the neighborhood for that manner. But yes, it is important to God that we have honor, because when you honor someone, especially beginning with your parents at home, it just carries over. There's a ripple effect. And I think you mentioned something like that in one of your questions, but that carries over, not only just at home, but everywhere else around the world. Yeah,
I think that's important. You said something interesting. You said, cut your life short.
Yeah, my mom used to say all the time, if you don't respect me, you're going to cut your life short.
Yeah.
And that used to put a fear in me. I'm thinking, God, help me to do right. Help me to obey my mom, because I don't want to die young. And that's the way I took it. Hey, I'm going to cut my life short.
Okay. I think about that too. I want to translate that into another translation. Maybe cut your blessings short.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people cut a lot of things short when they take this out of the home.
Right.
And I think we can sometimes miss what someone is trying to do in our lives, and we can cut the blessing out of certain relationships just by disrespecting somebody.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's important to teach our kids that in the home. Because if our kids think that they can do that in the home, when they get to the work world's going to cut them short from their paycheck, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's one of the ripple effects.
Right.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
It's good.
You ready? Are you too busy for God? Are you prepared for the afterlife? Is God an afterthought or your daily bread of life? Do you have the time for God? Can you spare some time with God? This community network Minutes with God, don't get it twisted. Wrap yourself up in the law, don't get it twisted. Wrap yourself up in the law, don't get it twisted. Wrap yourself up in the law. This community network, do you have the time for God?